The Secret of the Abandoned Station, Episode 7. James felt a surge of energy as he stepped into the vortex. The blue light engulfed him, and the world around him blurred into a whirlwind of colors and shadows. He gripped the glowing key tightly, his heart pounding in his chest as he was pulled forward. The whispers of the station echoed in his ears, mixing with the howling wind that seemed to surround him. For a moment, everything was chaos. The ground beneath him vanished, and he felt as though he were floating through an endless void. Faces appeared in the swirling light, ghostly figures reaching out with eyes that glowed faintly, their expressions a mix of pain and desperation. James tried to steady himself, his lantern swinging wildly as he struggled to find solid ground. Suddenly, the vortex released him, and he tumbled forward onto a cold stone floor. The blue light faded, and the air grew still. James took a deep breath, his hands trembling as he pushed himself up. The chamber he now found himself in was different from anything he had seen before. Tall, shadowed pillars lined the walls, and the ceiling stretched high above, lost in darkness. The air was heavy with the scent of old stone, and the flicker of his lantern cast eerie shapes along the walls. In the center of the room stood a massive clock, its hands frozen in place, pointing to midnight. The clock's face was covered in symbols similar to those he had seen throughout Grey Hollow Station, but these were more intricate, more ancient. As he approached, the key in his hand began to pulse again, its glow intensifying. The clock reacted, its hands twitching as the blue light from the key resonated with the symbols. James felt a shiver run down his spine. This clock was not just a timepiece, it was a gateway, a connection to the mysteries he had been chasing. Time waits for no one, a voice echoed through the chamber. James spun around, his lantern casting light across the room. At the far end, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was the same ghostly figure he had seen before, its eyes glowing with the same blue light. The cloak it wore billowed as if caught in an unseen wind, and its presence filled the room with a sense of both power and foreboding. "What is this place?" James demanded, his voice steady but filled with caution. "This is the heart of the station," the figure replied. "The point where past, present, and future converge. The clock controls the flow of time, and the key you carry has the power to unlock its secrets." James tightened his grip on the key. Why was this hidden? What happened here? The figure's eyes dimmed, and it seemed to hesitate before speaking. Long ago, those who built Grey Hollow Station sought to control time itself. They believed that by harnessing the power of the clock, they could change the course of history, reshape events to suit their desires. But such power comes at a cost. James felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of cost? "The shadows you've seen, the whispers you've heard, they are echoes of those who paid the price," the figure said. "They are trapped between worlds, their souls bound to the station. The power they sought corrupted them, and now they seek to reclaim what they lost." James took a step back, his mind racing. "And what do they want from me?" "They want the key," the figure replied. "With it, they believe they can undo their mistakes, reclaim their freedom. But the key is also a burden. It carries the weight of their choices, their regrets. If you choose to wield it, you must be prepared to face the consequences." James looked down at the glowing key, its light casting an eerie glow on his face. He felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. "What happens if I refuse?" The figure's expression remained unreadable. "If you refuse, the station will continue its cycle, drawing others into its web. The shadows will grow stronger, and the veil between worlds will weaken. Grey Hollow will become a beacon for those seeking to manipulate time." James's heart pounded. He had come too far to turn back now. "And if I accept?" "If you accept, you must use the key to restart the clock," the figure said. "But be warned, once the clock begins to move, time itself will become unstable. The shadows will test you, and the truth you seek may not be what you expect." James nodded, determination filling his eyes. "I'm ready." The figure extended its hand, and the room shuddered as the clock's hands twitched again. "Then step forward and face your fate." James approached the clock, the key in his hand glowing brighter with each step. The air grew cold, and the ground beneath him trembled. The symbols on the clock's face began to shift, rearranging themselves as he held the key closer. Taking a deep breath, he placed the key into a small slot at the center of the clock. The room filled with a blinding blue light, and the clock's hands began to move, slowly at first, then faster. The air crackled with energy, and the shadows along the walls came to life, swirling around him. James felt the pull of the shadows, their whispers filling his ears. The past cannot be changed, the future is uncertain. He gritted his teeth, his grip on the key tightening. "I will find the truth, no matter the cost." The chamber shook violently, and the clock's hands spun faster, creating a whirlwind of blue light and shadows. James stood his ground, the key glowing brighter than ever. The figure watched silently, its eyes fixed on him as the vortex of time swirled around them. With a final burst of energy, the clock's hand stopped and the room was plunged into silence. The shadows dissipated and the blue light faded, leaving only the dim glow of James's lantern. He looked around, his breath visible in the cold air. The figure was gone, and the clock now stood still, its face blank. The key in his hand felt cold, its light extinguished. James knew he had crossed a line, that he had set events into motion that could not be undone. But he also knew that the truth was closer than ever. The station's secrets were unraveling, and the key was leading him toward a final confrontation. He turned and made his way back through the chamber, his lantern lighting the path ahead. The whispers had ceased, but he felt their presence lingering, watching, waiting. Great Hollow Station had not yet revealed its full story, but James was prepared to see it through to the end. As he stepped out of the chamber and back into the forest, he felt a sense of resolve. The shadows might test him, and the truth might be more than he could handle, but he was ready. The journey was far from over. 7.